Question. Thank you, Kim. Sometimes when I watch your videos, I have a different and higher vision of some aspect. Do you think it's the principle of, and when I am ascended, I will draw everyone to me? Or in other words, your higher consciousness pulls up my higher consciousness. Can you elaborate on this and how it works? Okay, well, in the Indian guru tradition, you have this concept that you have a guru who has attained a higher state of consciousness. And the students, or the chelas, as it's called in India, they come and they interact with the guru. They might sit at the feet of the guru and listen to him giving what's called darshan. And the idea is that by opening yourself to the guru, you are absorbing the higher consciousness of the guru, and this can raise your consciousness. And it's not that I'm opposed to this as such, but I have just seen in several spiritual movements that this entire idea so easily leads to idolatry of the guru. And once people go into idolatry of the guru, they stop their own personal growth. And that's obviously not what I want to see happen. So I prefer to look at it a different way. And I prefer to look at it that, as I've explained in many videos, most people are trapped in what I call the duality consciousness, the illusion that we are separate beings, separated from our source, from each other, from the environment we're in. And the goal of spirituality is to rise above that state of consciousness, the separate mind. The separate mind is always divided. As I talk about duality, there's always the two dualistic polarities. So there's a division in the separate mind. And I also explain in several videos, including my video on how the world was created, why we are allowed to go into the separate mind, because we need to have that experience of what we can do with our free will. But because the Creator foresaw that we could get lost in separation, everything is created out of the one mind. So behind all the differentiated forms, behind all the illusions created in the separate mind, there is the one mind. Which means that no matter how deeply we go into separation and illusion, we always have the option to connect to the one mind and see our current illusion and take the next step up. So what I'm saying is that the real goal of spiritual growth, the real goal of raising consciousness, is that we connect to the one mind. We overcome the illusions that keep us in separation, and as we overcome the illusions that pull us away from the one mind, we naturally begin to connect to the one mind at first, and we have a stronger and stronger connection until you can come to a point where you can say you have united with the one mind, actually. You have a sense of oneness with the one mind. So this you can also say that the world, at least Earth, is enveloped in this veil of illusion, which is what in the East is called Maya, a veil of illusion. And it blocks out the one mind from our vision. It doesn't really block out the one mind, but we can't see it through the veil. So the goal of spirituality is that we eradicate the veil in our own minds. So now that the light of the one mind can shine through our minds. And, so you can say, you look at history and you can say, are there people who have attained this? And yes, there are many people. Thousands, if not millions of people who have attained at least some degree of this, that the light of the one mind is shining through their outer minds and can be expressed through them. It can be expressed as a radiation of energy. It can be expressed when they speak, when they act, whatever. And so we can say that a person who is blinded by Maya, by illusion, it can be very helpful for that person to meet another person who has some openness to the light of the one mind shining through them. Because then you are experiencing, oh, there's a person there that has something I don't have, or at least has a higher level of it than what I have. And this can be very helpful. That's why there's validity to the idea of a spiritual teacher or guru who has reached a higher level of consciousness than the student, can therefore help the student. But the problem, as I said, is that so often, and you see this over and over again, both in the Eastern tradition but also in Western spiritual movements, it leads to the idolatry of the guru. And this it's just so, I mean, it's just so nonsensical. Because when you begin to connect to the one mind, there may be a brief period where you're a little bit confused and you feel like you have some connection to the one mind that most people don't have. Because you're still colored by duality, where you think that the separate mind is separated from the one mind. This is the illusion projected by the separate mind, right? The thickest layer of illusion is that there's nothing but the separate mind, that everything is, the world is the way it is. It's illusion, but you don't see it as illusion. You think this is just the way the world is. So you have no idea there's anything behind the veil. That's the lowest level of illusion. Then you come to a point where you realize there is something beyond the veil. But in the beginning, you still think that something is different from the veil. There's a separate, you're still seeing separation. You're seeing there's something beyond separation, but that something is different from the separation. Separation isn't made out of the one mind. So there's an interim period where you can be confused about this. You have some genuine contact with the one mind, but you still think the one mind is different from the separate mind. So you're still in a way believing in some of the illusions created by the separate mind. And this is what you see in some gurus and some teachers. So that's why they come to believe, oh, I have established this connection to the one mind. I am the one who is the open door for the one mind. And maybe they even believe I'm the only open door for the one mind. And their students believe that too, because, why? Because it makes the guru feel special and it makes the students feel special. But when you rise to a higher level of connection with the one mind, you see that this is a complete illusion. Everything is out of the one mind. What does that mean? No person can have a monopoly on the one mind. No person can be the exclusive open door for the one mind, because the one mind is in everyone. Everyone has the potential to be an open door for the one mind. And when you reach that level, you don't want your students to remain students indefinitely and look up to you as the guru. There are actually gurus, and I have seen them, who have some genuine, or at least at some point have some genuine connection to the one mind. But then they set themselves up as gurus and they like being in this position and they want to maintain it, which means they subconsciously, they actually want to hold their students back so the students remain students and don't come to the level where they can be open doors. And and this is what idolatry leads to. Oh yes, Ramana Maharshi had God realization. This guru was the ultimate guru ever to come to earth. You know, and this is what I've seen over the years, and I just, it's just so old. I mean, come on, can we just not move on from this? And so that's why I'm saying, get back to the question. You sometimes when I watch your videos, I have a different and higher vision of some aspect. Yes, that may be because you are able to recognize that the one mind is shining through me, speaking through me. And that's very good that you can recognize that. But you see, you have to then be careful and not think, oh, this guy has something I don't have. Because you have to realize that if you're seeing something shining through me, why can you recognize that? Because you have it in yourself also. If you didn't have the one mind in yourself, how could you recognize it in someone else? How could you recognize the one mind? So it's simply this. I had a seed of the Christ mind, which I have nourished by walking the spiritual path. You have a seed of the Christ mind in you, which you can nourish by walking the spiritual path. And that is precisely what you're meant to do. And actually, the very first book that I got from the Ascended Masters back in 2002, when I started working with them, was this book, The Mystical Teachings of Jesus. And in it, he actually talks about how there are 10,000 people in embodiment right now who have the potential to manifest full Christhood in this lifetime. And there are millions more people in embodiment who have the potential to manifest a high degree of personal Christhood. And personal Christhood is what I'm saying, your connection to the one mind, your sense of oneness with the one mind. And so the reason why this is so important is that if you've grown up in any culture that was affected by Christianity, you have been affected by this completely false anti-Christ Christianity that elevates Jesus to being the only Son of God. Jesus was meant to be an example of the path we can all follow. And that's why he said, and he says it right in the scriptures, those who believe on me, the works that I do shall ye do also, yea, even greater works shall ye do, because I go unto my Father. You see, Jesus came to set an example of what it means to have personal Christhood, to be an open door for the one mind. But because he achieved what he achieved, we can build on that foundation and go higher. That means we can do more in this age than Jesus could do 2,000 years ago, partly because the collective consciousness has been raised and people can grasp more ideas than they could grasp back then. So, I grew up, I found the spiritual path when I was 18. And my first book was Yogananda, Autobiography of a Yogi, where he talks about the Indian guru tradition. Then I got into transcendental meditation, where they also had the guru, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who was considered to have reached an ultimate state of consciousness. My next spiritual movement was the Summit Lighthouse, where Elizabeth Clare Prophet was the messenger, and it was considered she had full Christhood, and she was in this very high state of consciousness compared to us. So I've seen this personally, I've experienced this personally in these movements. And that's why I've come to the point where I have no desire to set myself up as a guru in that kind of mindset, because I don't want to be seen as the exclusive person who has some connection to the Christ mind. I want to see all people who find these teachings discover the one mind in themselves and start nourishing it so that they can blossom and grow. I don't need to be put up on a pedestal. I don't need to be admired. I don't need to be validated. I don't need to be famous. I don't need to have this or that. If I can help other people discover the one mind in themselves, then that's what I'm here for. And that's my joy of, helping other people. So in other words, yes, it's good that you can sense there's something, but you have to realize that what you are sensing is the one mind, and the one mind is also in you and in everyone else. So you need to use that experience of experiencing something through me to come to that point where you start seeing it in yourself and start nourishing it. And really honestly, I started in 2002 getting teachings from the Ascended Masters. And all of the teachings that have been given through me in those many years they have this one purpose: to help people discover the one mind in themselves, nourish it, and express it. And I have published 80 books, and I have websites that have much more material that's available for free than are in those 80 books. But all of this material has one purpose and one purpose only: to help you discover the one mind in you and nourish it and come to the point where you can express it. Because if you're watching this, you're most likely either one of the 10,000 or one of the millions who have a potential to manifest a high degree of Christhood in this lifetime. And if you see that I have dared to express something beyond the ordinary, realize what one has done, all can do. Not all human beings on earth, but certainly all of the 10,000 and all of the millions who have the potential to manifest Christhood in this lifetime. So get on with it.